All right, boys and girls, the last chapter of Chomps, Flea, and Gray Cat, that's me. Let's find out if the animals save Mama. What can we do? Chomp sniffed. I'm so scared for Mama. I nodded my head, agreeing with him. Me too. If we could just get Daddy to stop the tractor, just for a second. Flea leaped from the fence post and swooped into the air. I'll stop him. Flea took a flying swing toward the sky. She dived almost to the ground, right in front of Daddy. Then she did it again. Up and down, back and forth, she swooped. Flea finally whacked Daddy on the head with her beak. Her first snap wiggled his cap just a little. Even more determined, her second whack almost knocked Daddy's cap off. He had to grab it to keep it on his head. Frowning, he pulled it off and looked around. When Flea hit him again, she got him right on the bald spot at the back of his head. He yelled, leaped up from the tractor seat, and started waving his cap around. Flea landed on the very front of the tractor and chirped as loud as she could. Daddy leaned over the steering wheel and swung the cap at her. When he saw he couldn't hit her, and when she didn't move or fly away, he turned the big noisy machine off so he could hop down and go after her. The instant the tractor stopped roaring and rumbling, Chomps raced toward him. He barked as loud as he could. I yowled at the top of my lungs. Cap clutched in his hand and ready to swing at the mockingbird. Daddy finally stopped and looked at us. What is going on? You two are in serious trouble. What are you doing here? Chomps howled. Daddy cocked his head to the side and frowned at him. Chomps growled in his deepest voice. Meowing, I raced up to Daddy and tugged on his pant leg with my claws. He shoved me aside with his foot, but I came right back. What is with you two? What's all this noise? Daddy asked as he reached down and picked me up. He smiled and rubbed my fur. You guys must be really lonesome today. What are you doing all the way down here? Chomp started bouncing around. Then he began running down the road toward where Mama was. Flea fluffed her little wings, then she made a huge screeching sound. I struggled to get away from Daddy. I jumped from his arms and landed near the front of the tractor. Meow, it's Mama, I howled. What is going on? I don't have time to play right now. I've got to get this hay out of the field. Daddy turned and started back for the tractor. Suddenly I heard Chomps growl again. He wasn't very far away, trying to lead Daddy toward the bridge. When he heard him say, I don't have time to play, Chomps spun around and charged. Daddy's eyes flashed as big around in his tractor tires when Chomps grabbed his pant leg. The pup growled, as mean as he could. Then he shook Daddy's pants so hard I thought he was going to yank them off. Daddy's mouth flopped open. Chomps let go. He spun around and raced toward the bridge, barking every step of the way. I chased after him, stopping now and again to look back. Daddy followed us. I didn't know Daddy could run. After all, he was a people and he only had 2 legs. Besides that, he was kind of old too. But I was very proud of him and the way he kept up with us. Flea made big circles around us until she was sure we were all headed in the right direction. Then she flew ahead to go check on Mama again. Daddy followed us at a run all the way across the bridge and up the road. But at the driveway to our house, he stopped. He coughed. He bent over and put his hands on his knees. Then he coughed and gasped for air again. Then he started up the driveway toward the house. Where are you going? I yowled. She's not at the house. It's this way, this way. Daddy had his cap off so he could wipe the sweat from his brow. Flea stopped him. She whacked him on his bald spot again. He waved his cap in the air and called her bad names. Then Chomps growled and charged. Before he got there, Daddy turned and started following us once more. Okay, I'll follow you. He put his cap back on and shook his head. I can't believe this. I've been chasing a dog, a cat, and a bird for almost a mile. I wish I knew what in the world was going on. When we finally got to the lower water crossing, Daddy knew what was going on. The second he saw Mama's Range Rover, he started out into the fast-moving stream. Flea clunked the bill of his cap with her hard beak. Chomp yanked at his pant leg. He looked around, and the 3 of us raced down the creek bank. Daddy followed. With my sharp ears, I could hear Mama yelling. We had to get a little closer before Daddy could hear. The moment he did, he began running. When he finally saw her, he ran even faster. He ran so fast that he shot right past me and then past Chomps. Flea was the only one who beat him to Mama. Then my heart sank when I saw what he did next. Daddy jumped into the water. Mama yelled, "No!" Chomps barked, Flea squawked, I meowed. Daddy just jumped in anyway. He hugged Mama in his arms and tried to lift her. She flinched and yelled. Daddy felt around under the water with his hand. Then he took a deep breath. It scared me even more when he went under the water. But when he came up, Daddy had a big log in his hand. He lifted and shoved and pushed until the log turned, then tumbled out into the swift current. When Mama was finally free, she pulled herself toward the bank. Daddy climbed up right behind her. "How did you know where to find me?" Mama leaned against a tree and rubbed her leg. Daddy nodded toward me and Chomps. "These two. Never saw anything like it in my life. You talk about weird. They made me follow them. There's a bird." Daddy stopped talking, looked around in the trees. When Flea chirped, he smiled and pointed at her. "I think the bird was in on it. But for the life of me, I don't know what a mockingbird is doing with Gray and Chomps." Daddy turned to Mama and smiled. He gave her another big hug. "Anyway, they brought me right to you. I guess they knew you were in trouble." He took her hand and gave it a gentle tug. "Come on, let's get you back to the house." When Mama looked at us, she smiled. It was one of the sweetest smiles I've ever seen. "Come on, Gray and Chomps. You're going to get treats today." "What about me?" Flea chirped. As soon as we got back to the house, Mama went to the refrigerator. She got a really big piece of steak and cut it up into little bite-sized pieces. She gave half of it to me and half to Chomps. Before she took a nice hot bath, she got some birdseed out of the bucket by the front door and put it in the feeder on the pecan tree. While Mama was taking her bath, Daddy went to the box on the wall and started punching at it with his fingers. "Hello?" He held the box by his ear and started talking to himself. "Yes, this is Owen Priddle. We need a wrecker 4 miles west of town. We've got a Range Rover stuck in a low water crossing. It's brand new and it shouldn't have stalled out." "Okay, I'll give you about 20 minutes and then I'll meet you there." "No problem, thanks." Daddy put the little box back on the wall. Mama came in just as he hung up. Daddy hugged her again and gave her a little kiss on the cheek. "I've got to go see what happened to the car. They said that they would be here in about 30 minutes. The thing shouldn't have stalled out. It's brand new. I'll be back." Mama let Chomps out in the backyard to sleep in the sun. I went to the bedroom and told Callie what had happened. She moved so I could have her pillow up for a cat nap. Callie never gave me her pillow before. I guess she was very happy that we helped save Mama. "Rats!" The words snapped my eyes open. I sat straight up on the pillow and looked around. "Rats!" the voice said again. It came from the other room. I was instantly awake. I sprang from the bed and trotted to the living room. "The only thing we could see under the vehicle were some bare wires pulled down," Daddy told Mama. "When they hit the water, it must have shorted out the whole electrical system. It had to have been a mouse or a rat. Chomps doesn't get out in the barn anymore. Gray wouldn't pull wires down. It just had to be one of those barn rats." My ears picked up. I knew who had chewed on those wires. I remembered when I had seen Nora in the barn messing around under Mama's car. That's what she had been doing. It made me so mad, I couldn't even see straight. The next morning when Mama opened the front door, she let out a little scream and yelled for Daddy. "What in the world is it?" she asked when he got there. "Is it a gopher or an opossum?" Daddy frowned down at the trophy I'd left on the doormat. "It's a rat. A big one, too." I laid on the porch swing and smiled over at them. "It's Nora," I meowed softly. "What she did to Mama was wrong. It was bad. She'll never hurt Mama again. The others won't bother us either. They all ran away. I'll never let them come back." It was a good trophy. Mama didn't even curl her nose or scold me when she picked up the mat and dumped the mat out in the field. She just hugged me in her arms and rubbed me. That night, Daddy cooked steaks on the charcoaler. I could get used to the steak. It was even better hot than out of the refrigerator. So Gray is a big grown-up cat. He took care of Nora. So our next set of chapter books is it's a fun set of books. It's called The Frog Princess, and it's pretty neat. And don't worry, boys, you'll enjoy it too. So we'll start this one on Monday. Have a great weekend, guys.